until 7:15. This is really a radar indicated area of rotation. There hasn't really been, normally when we're talking about strong rotation, we see reds and greens next to each other. But again, we're in an environment here where along this line of storms, you can get a quick spin up that sometimes can drop down just as, faster than the radar can swing around to, and so they can go undetected. So if we're here from Jackson to Cape Girardeau here in central and southern Cape Girardeau County, let's go ahead and take shelter and be safe there. It looks like we've got a new tornado warning that just came out here for the area. We just showed you the track on this storm that's over here near Frona, and now we do have a new tornado warning that's been issued on that. So let's go here for the latest on our tornado warning. That's going to include Carbondale and Murfreesboro, Jackson County, Williamson County, over toward Marion. That includes Heron, Carterville, and just to the north of Goreville, and just to the north of Cobden as well. That's until 7:30 this evening. And let's see if we've got any reports from the Weather Service here on that. It does look like a storm spotter that was near Oak Ridge, Missouri, did indicate some rotation there. And then we've got 5 minutes ago a power flash reported in Cape Girardeau County near Highway 61 and Highway CC. So that's also something that we'll need to monitor there. If we've got power flashes, that may be an indication that we have possibly something on the ground. So we'll have to monitor that. Mike, do you see anything new on your end?
No, Trent. I think you have everything covered. I think this one storm up in the one that involves Carbondale right now.
Okay.
Is one of this.
May want to check our. We may be out of paper over here.
Okay.
All right, just checking a couple things behind the scenes here. We do have power poles down as well. Again, that's near Shawneetown, Missouri. So let's update you here on the location of where we are talking about. That is going to be to the north of Jackson. So that's going to be on this storm right here. So that's what we're talking about. This is why we have the tornado warning here until 7:30 now, as this storm possibly producing some damage. See if anything happens to jump out here. Debris tracker is not really showing anything. Let me look at a product behind the scenes. So that damage would have been if we did have possibly something touching down. Again, would have been back closer to areas in between Pocahontas and Frona and Altenburg. So that part of the storm is now approaching Grand Tower. So possibly some wind-related or maybe tornado damage coming out of that storm. So again, here is the track on this storm as it's moving off to the east, and bear with us here. We've had a couple of instances where our radar data has dropped out briefly, but it will come back. The storm moving off to the east at 60 miles per hour. So that tornado warned portion of the storm, Grand Tower 6:49, Carbondale at 7:06, Carterville at 7:13, Marion at 7:20, and Harrisburg at 7:41. Again, that's kind of, we'll expand that cone as we get out in time here. So that is for an area of rotation. Again, that is here coming out of Perry County, Missouri. We had potential damage here near the Shawneetown, Missouri area. So we'll monitor the latest on that. And looks like the Storm Prediction Center keeping an eye on things for us here as well, and they continue to let us know that the winds aloft are still very favorable for severe weather, so we think that this threat will continue for the next couple of hours and likely beyond. So let's move the camera down here just a bit farther to the south. Don't want to get locked in on any one spot. We do have this line that's coming into Cape Girardeau County. Let's check on our storm that's down in Arkansas that prompted some tornado warnings here. We've got a new tornado warning here. All right, so we've got a couple things we're watching. You can see along this line, there's a couple of spots where the line is just kind of a little jagged. It's not straight across. So we may have a couple of circulations. There's one circulation right here, possibly another here. So we'll watch those as this one is moving right along. I believe that is Highway 164. Yeah, so that's off to the south of Kennett. Some pretty rural area here in southern Dunklin County, but we'll need to monitor that, especially over towards Steele. As you get over toward the Steele exit of I-55, certainly some strong gusty winds. And then the circulation that's down here just across the border in Arkansas, it's pretty close to Manila, Arkansas. That one, maybe, if it holds together, could head up here to western sections of Dyer County. So we'll watch that over the next few minutes. There's also another tornado warning, it looks like, that's been issued coming here out of Malden over toward the New Madrid area. So I'm not really seeing anything on the velocity. Let me switch this back over to radar. And you can see this line of storms coming into the Malden area right now. That tornado warning is in effect until 7:30 tonight, and that includes a little small sliver of Stoddard County, but the southern sections of New Madrid County under that tornado warning until 7:30 this evening. This is radar, again, radar indicated, and with the environment tonight, I don't know that we're going to see any long-lasting areas of rotation. This is going to be straight line winds with little embedded signatures where a tornado may drop briefly for a minute or two and then it's gone. And so if you're in these tornado warnings tonight, go ahead and shelter in place. Take these seriously. It's very possible that we may have a couple of tornadoes that drop down and lift before the radar is able to sweep back around and catch those for us. So we need you to be taking these seriously as we go through the course of the evening here and just assume that you're better safe than sorry, as always, with these storms. And so we want you to go ahead and take shelter when that warning is issued. We'll do a track on this line segment here. Again, these are all moving generally at about 60 miles per hour. So this is going to be coming up toward Portageville at around 7:05, New Madrid at 7:15, Hickman at around 7:35, and Clinton at around 7:46 tonight. So we'll be watching this here as this moves into western Kentucky over about the next hour or so. And again, we do have some showers that are out here ahead of our main line. These are not severe. They're not expected to turn severe. This line back here in Missouri, that's the main event. Once this line moves through, you guys are good. So Poplar Bluff, you're in the clear for the rest of the night, but most of the area still waiting for this line to move through. All right, let's go back up to the north, and our tornado-warned storm that's right here moving across the Mississippi River at the moment, headed toward Grand Tower. We need to be on alert if we're out in Carbondale, Jackson County, over toward the McCanda area. Zoom in just a little bit closer here. This is the storm that's causing that tornado warning, and you can see from Murfreesboro south on 127, Carbondale and McCanda over toward Carterville, Heron, and Marion in southern Illinois. These areas all in a tornado warning, and that runs until 7:30 this evening. So let's go back over and look at our radar or our velocity data, and you can still see here there are some very strong winds right there around the Grand Tower, Illinois area. Right there over Grand Tower, possibly seeing some at least 40-50 mile per hour winds, and there is at least some rotation that's kind of been on and off with this storm. Zoom this out just a bit, kind of see what this has looked like over the past hour or so. And you can see this was really quite intense out here over northern Bollinger County, northern Cape County. We are starting to see the kind of the top end of those velocities at the moment are not quite as high as they were back to the west. That does not mean that the storm is weakening, however. And it may very well pulse up again. There is still some lightning showing up here with this. Let's kind of loop that as well. One of the things sometimes that you look for with thunderstorms is if there is an uptick in the lightning, sometimes that means your updraft is getting stronger and may pose a greater threat for a tornado or winds. But at the moment right now, seems to be that the lightning is holding fairly steady on that. Let's look at a couple of different wind products here. Those don't look too much different. So we really think that this strongest area of rotation from its track here is going to come very close to Carbondale, and again, that's going to be within the next 20 minutes or so. So we need to be taking shelter here around Carbondale and SIU. Let's do another track, give you the latest arrivals on this, and then we will cover, looks like a new severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued for several areas here in southern Illinois. Let's just go ahead and say 60 miles per hour here. So Carbondale, our arrival time is around 7:09. Carterville at around 7:17, and Marion around 7:25. So over the next 30 minutes, we're going to be seeing this area of intense winds and possible rotation moving right there around the Route 13 corridor, and this is going to pose a danger here for us from Carbondale to Carterville, Marion, right there around Crab Orchard Lake. And so it is time to be moving to shelter there. Again, as always, if you are in the path of this storm, we want you to head to an interior hallway, closet, a bathroom. Stay away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And if you have a basement, obviously that's the safest place to go. There is a larger severe thunderstorm warning that's now been issued for a good portion of southern Illinois, and this really stretches from Mount Vernon to West Frankfort all the way down just to the west of Vienna, Anna Jonesboro, and all the way into Alexander and Pulaski County now. And that severe thunderstorm warning runs until 7:30. Again, that's, you can see that flashing here. That basically goes from Route 13 south almost down to Cairo. So that's going to include Goreville and, again, almost to Vienna, Anna Jonesboro, Cobden, Dongola, down toward Pulaski County, so close to Karnak and the Horseshoe Lake area, Thebes, and over toward Cape Girardeau included in that warning. Tornado possible tag. Again, all these storms tonight have the potential to produce some quick spin up type tornadoes. Farther to the south here, let's check in on the wind with our Cape Girardeau storm. You can see that little area of rotation starting to tighten up again out here to the west of Carbondale. So we're going to want to watch that real close. It does not look to be quite as well defined here back toward Cape Girardeau. But near Pomona, if you live near Pomona, let's go ahead and be taking shelter right now. Things look like they are getting pretty intense there. The rotation is certainly strongest in that area. Checking in on the Weather Service chat, not seeing anything there that's jumping out to us right now. Just looking at a couple things behind the scenes. Bear with me here just for a second. Mike, you see anything over there?
Despite anything you talked about, not really.
Okay.
They found out that those power surges that we're seeing earlier were just poles that were being downed.
Okay.
So, not sure if that was a confirmed tornado on the ground or not, but that's just something to keep in mind.
We do have about 6:40 this evening, so almost 20 minutes ago, there were some reports of some power poles down in the Shawneetown, Missouri area, not Shawneetown, Illinois, Shawneetown, Missouri, which is back close to Highway 61. So that is the storm that is coming into Pomona in Jackson County right now. So this is the storm that caused that damage. So our main concern right now is our storm approaching Route 13. So let's go down here and kind of get you caught up on what's happening right now. At the moment, the strongest rotation is coming in right here along 127. Some strong winds coming through Murfreesboro right now. And again, moving down, you can see there's Pomona. In between Pomona, McCanda, and up toward Carbondale, these are areas where if this thing dropped a quick spin up, those are the spots that are going to be in the crosshairs. And again, this is going to be moving over toward Carbondale now within the next 10 minutes. So we need to be taking shelter there. And then on the east side of Carbondale here, over toward Carterville, Marion, Heron, maybe even up toward Johnson City, and then south of Marion, getting on down close to Lake of Egypt. Those are all areas that let's go ahead and be getting to our safe spot. Make sure you take your phone with you. We are continuing to stream live here on Facebook as well as WPSD Local 6. We're going to stay with you as long as these tornado warnings are in effect. And you can see this line of storms stretching from Murfreesboro back to the east of Grand Tower right now. So those of us along Highway 51, we've got about 5 to 10 minutes before these storms roll in to your area. All right, let's zoom out and get you caught up on what else is going on out there. We appreciate you sticking with us and trusting us as we cover these storms here tonight. We've got the tornado warning still in effect here for Cape Girardeau County. That is going to run until 7:15. And as we look at the velocity data here, mainly strong winds where you see the green. So that is wind that is going toward the Paducah radar site. So you can see the radar spinning around down here at Barkley Regional. Green means winds toward, and so that's where we have some strong pockets of wind coming in and coming down at the ground. Likely some 40 to 50, maybe occasionally over 50-mile-per-hour gusts with that. The tornado warning does remain. There have been some instances where there's been some very brief rotations that have been possible. We're not seeing anything that's long-lasting or that's well-defined right now, but it's worth continuing to go ahead and shelter for that at the moment. Let's move down into the Boot Heel of Missouri because we have tornado warnings in effect here as well. And we have an area back over here east of Malden. You can see this line where the green is just a little bit brighter. That is where we've got strong winds coming out of this storm, and you can see there's a surge here off to the east of Malden. Let's look at that on a loop. So right now, this looks like it's probably more of a straight line wind threat, at least according to the radar data. However, when you start to see these bowing segments, there can be on the northern side of that bow some potential for some rotation. So it appears that the strongest part of that storm is headed pretty close to New Madrid, or maybe just north of New Madrid on I-55. So if you live here in New Madrid, we've got just a few minutes before this rolls through. I would go ahead and be taking shelter ahead of this storm there. Let's zoom that out. And not only for New Madrid, but also for folks that are down toward Clinton and Hickman, this is going to be potentially headed your way here soon. So let's put a track on this line. And really, even the severe thunderstorm warned part that's coming into Sykeston, we'll track that entire segment here. So this is moving off to the east at about 55 to 60 miles per hour. So we've got an arrival here about 7:13 in New Madrid. It's 7:03 right now, so we've got about 10 minutes before that storm rolls in to New Madrid. Charleston, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning right now, and possibly some strong winds arriving there around 7:25. Hickman around 7:37. Be prepared for storms to arrive there. And as we get closer to the 8 o'clock hour, these storms getting over close to the Graves County line between Hickman and Fancy Farm between 7:45 and 8 o'clock. So we're going to need to keep a close eye on things there. Down in the south, we've got tornado warnings in the Boot Heel of Missouri as well. And that includes actually a small part of southwest Dyer County under a tornado warning as well. And that is going to run until 7:45 with a storm that's here coming out of northern Arkansas that may make it into Dyer County within about the next 30 to 40 minutes. And our line of storms has passed through Kennett right now moving into Pemiscot County and getting close to the Steele communities. So let's take a quick look here at our velocity data. That is the scan out of Memphis. A lot messier look on the Paducah radar, and let's take a look at another product there. Move this around just a little bit. So that's our Memphis radar site. Paducah, a little tougher to pick out there, but you can see instead of where the reds and greens are located here, instead of a straight up and down line, you notice how it's a little wavy. Along those waves, that's where you can get just a little bit of spin, and it doesn't take much to drop just a brief tornado. Again, these are not going to be long track, long lived tornado potential. It's going to be more of your quick hitting type deals that drop down briefly and then lift back up if it produces anything at all. Get a quick look at things from the Weather Service here. Check on the Memphis page quickly and see what they are reporting. Not seeing any. I do have reports of some structure damage around Clarkton, Missouri. So that is going to be in Dunklin County. Not sure to what extent that damage is, but we do have a report of Clarkton, which is that is off to the north of Kennett. That's along Highway 25, and that would be on our storm. That would probably be with this storm at this point. Let's loop that and see if we can get an idea of where that may have been. Clarkton is right up in this area. There's nothing that jumps out on radar, but again, the environment tonight, we've got the potential for storms to drop a tornado with little to no warning and very quickly. Doesn't see anything on the debris signature there. Let's go back over to our regular radar scan, and let's track this entire line as it moves off to the east. And again, this line moving east at about 55 to 60 miles per hour. So here in southeast Missouri, down into northwest Tennessee, as it moves east at 50 to 55. This is going to be moving through Caruthersville at around 7:18, Tiptonville at around 7:26, Dyersburg at 7:40, Union City, line of storms coming through at around 7:53, Rutherford at around 8:04. And let's go down for a little closer view of this activity, and you can see here getting close to the Caruthersville area. Steele is here as well, and this is going to be moving over the storm that's coming out of Arkansas, may be approaching the Dyersburg area as well. All right, we are 7:10 here this evening, and this line of storms moving across the area as expected. We do have some showers and thunderstorms here in places like, well, we've just had some thunder and lightning from Paducah on down into Marshall County, west of Murray. None of this is severe. So if you're in Paducah or Benton or Murray or Mayfield and you're like, he hadn't mentioned us, we're getting light thunder and lightning, it's not severe. If we're not talking about you, that's good. That's what you want. We do have areas that we do have more concerning storms right now that are severe, and so those are where we're focusing in on the areas that are currently under a threat for severe weather. We're certainly not forgetting about anyone. So if you're seeing thunder and lightning, if we're not talking about you, don't worry. Things are okay in your area. Let's go back up to southern Illinois, and our storm approaching Carbondale and Cobden right now. And again, this is a pretty well-defined straight line wind threat and a little tiny bow echo around Carbondale and then back toward Cobden, just the slightest little kink in that line. There's nothing that's just jumping off the page. It does look like, I believe this may be a new tornado warning they expanded that just a little bit farther south. So until 7:30, this tornado warning is basically from just north of Anna up toward Cobden here in Union County. And again, this is it's not going to be a long track tornado. It's not going to be one that's well defined on radar, but just along that line with the way the wind is aligned in the atmosphere. There's a lot of wind shear tonight. As you go higher, the winds are turning different directions, and so these lines of storms can produce a brief spin-up type tornado very quickly. Most of the time in these setups, it's likely that there will be a couple of tornadoes that touch down and do damage and then lift again before the radar can sweep all the way back around and detect it. So in a night like tonight, if you come under a tornado warning, we want you to just go ahead and take shelter and assume that even if you don't see a big track of damage on radar, just assume that there is that potential. These storms are moving really fast, 55 miles per hour, so you don't have a whole lot of time to act anyway. So just go ahead and get to your safe place, ride it out for 30 minutes, and then once the storms move through, all is good, and you're back to it. Carbondale, the worst of the storm has come through right now. We're now seeing the leading edge of that line here in Williamson County. And this is coming in quickly to Heron, Carterville, Heron, Johnson City, and then up not too far to the south of West Frankfort. We are, again, this is mainly a line of strong winds, but can possibly produce a tornado with little to no notice. Then on down here from McCannon to Cobden, you can see there's a little bit of a bow in this. It's not perfectly straight, so that's why that tornado warning was extended down into Union County from Cobden over toward the Lick Creek area. And take a quick look at a couple of things behind the scenes. We do have our colleagues at the National Weather Service. They're working extremely hard tonight to kind of keep us in the loop on what's going on out there, and if there are any reports of damage, they'll have that for us. In northwest Tennessee, we're still kind of playing the waiting game as these storms get ready to move in there. The Paducah National Weather Service, let's see. No reports of damage as of the past few minutes. And again, we're going to stay with you until these tornado warnings are allowed to expire. And we're also, of course, streaming live on our Facebook fan page. You can catch us there. All right, and on Facebook, seeing a lot of folks asking for information on when these storms are coming into western Kentucky. So let's step back here a little bit and get you caught up on. I'm going to kind of take you back to the wide home view across the region, and let's go back over to actual reflectivity on radar and kind of give you an overview here. First things first, there is a line of storms from near Calvert City and Benton to Murray and on in Tennessee. These are not severe. They're more elevated storms. They're out ahead of our main line. It's possible that these could work the atmosphere over enough to slightly reduce the severity of this main line that's coming in, but I don't believe it's going to have that much of an impact. So I would not let our guards down in Kentucky just yet. The main line right now stretches from Mount Vernon to Carbondale to Cape Girardeau, just west of New Madrid, and right down close to the Dyersburg area. Once this line gets past you, you're in the clear. So Poplar Bluff, Fredericktown, Marble Hill, Perryville, DuQuoin, you guys are done with severe weather for tonight. Here is, and we do a reminder, we have the tornado watch that's in effect until 11 o'clock tonight. That is for the entire Local 6 area, and down toward Nashville, over toward Bowling Green, there'll probably be a watch issued at some point soon. Here's why we have this severe weather. Massive contrast in temperatures, those mid-70s, Nashville to Louisville, 31 in Springfield. And so with that very strong cold front coming in, once those storms move through, the temperatures are going to drop rapidly. So let's go through the hour-by-hour forecast here so that you can see what we're looking at. We're at 7 o'clock right now. This is kind of that messy stuff that's out ahead of our main line, and you can see by 8 o'clock, storms coming on over into western Kentucky. By 9 to 10 o'clock, we're pretty much done with the severe weather, and by midnight, we're back in the 40s across the area. So it is going to be, over the next 4 to 5 hours, a major drop in temperatures heading our way. So get ready for that. All right, let's go back to our radar and get you caught up on the latest on what we're seeing. So let's go do a track here on the storms moving into western Kentucky. So right now, there's actually a little gap here from Sykeston to New Madrid where we don't have any current warnings. The line of storms actually looks, on reflectivity, fairly impressive, but we're not quite seeing the strong returns on radar. But nonetheless, let me track that for you here and give you an idea of some of the arrival times for some of our Kentucky counties with this main line of storms here. So let's do that and then take these over. They're moving at about 55 miles per hour. So the main batch of storms will be coming into Cairo in about 20 minutes. Clinton at around 7:49. Fulton at 8 o'clock, and Paducah at around 8:09. Mike, you have something new for us?
Yeah, new tornado warning, northern Williamson County and southeastern Franklin County until 7:45. Severe thunderstorms capable of producing tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage were located over Heron, moving east at 55.
Okay. All right, so let's get you caught up on that storm. Oh, and there we go. Here, before we get to that, let's go ahead and just break this down real quick because this just came in. I said that there wasn't a warning here, but it still looked impressive. Well, sure enough, we had a new severe thunderstorm warning until 8 o'clock. And check this out. The wind speeds now coming up to 70 miles per hour. So we've got the potential for considerable winds and possible wind damage and a tornado possible. And really and our radar data has just dropped out briefly here. Let's go back over. It'll come back in just a second. We've had some issues, and I talked to our radar provider earlier. They're looking into it. It appears to be an issue with some of their equipment. But you can see that from Sikeston to New Madrid, right there is that corridor of some stronger straight line winds. And this is going to be approaching La Center, Bardwell, and Clinton over the next 30 to 45 minutes or so. Let me put some tracks, kind of do a smaller track on a couple of these segments here. So, and now we got a new tornado warning. All right. That latest printout, did we have still moving at 60? Moving east at 60 miles per hour.
Let's see. So this one's the tornado warning. Pulaski County, Alexander, Carlisle County, Ballard County. These are moving east at 65.
Okay.
So let's see. This one was a severe thunderstorm.
So these storms, again, they're moving at about between 55 and 60 miles per hour, most of these. All right, so here's some locations for you here. Charleston, 728, Cairo, 738, La Center, 749, Metropolis at 803, and Paducah at around 811. And it does look like, all of a sudden we've got an area here that appears to have some pretty strong rotation, and this is back here, right here. You can see between just a couple miles to the southeast of Blodgett, and this is coming into southern Scott County over toward the Dealstad area along Highway 77. So this pocket of some bright colors here, that's some very strong winds, certainly winds going toward the radar site, but there's some indication of some rotation trying to develop here. So that's why we have this tornado warning that's now been issued. Let me zoom. Well, some of the locations in this warning: Dealstad, Charleston, over toward Wyatt. It would appear that the storm probably goes north there. I have to watch out around Cairo, Mountain City, over toward the Wickliffe area. Those all included in this tornado warning. I want to zoom this out just a little bit. This, again, really just kind of developed here in the last couple of radar scans. And again, doesn't take long for this to go from really not looking too impressive to all of a sudden something pops up. That's the kind of environment that we're in tonight, with the potential for these to pop some quick spin-ups with little notice. So moving on to the east, again, we really want you to be paying attention around Cairo, Wickliffe, up toward La Center, Barlow, all in the path of this storm. Let's stop this, and I want to go quickly over to the regular radar. So yeah, it's certainly, and another thing too, there's a pretty good chance that any tornadoes that may happen to drop down, they're going to be rain wrapped, so it's going to be hard for you to see those. We've got numerous warnings to cover, so let me kind of go up and down the line here. That's one tornado warning that we're watching. There's a new tornado warning for the southern end of this line. That tornado warning extends into our West Kentucky counties, Cunningham to Bardwell to Clinton, Hickman, you guys under tornado warnings, and East Prairie down toward New Madrid. With this line of storms, it's right here along I-55. And that tornado warning until 8:15. That includes New Madrid County, Mississippi County in Missouri, Fulton, Hickman, and Carlisle County in western Kentucky. That's until 8:15, and then Ballard County back into northern Mississippi and southern Scott County, a tornado warning until 8 o'clock. There's two different areas of rotation that we're tracking here. As we go back to our velocity, we've got one area of rotation that's over here, again, close to Dealstad, and then let me look at a different product here. There's a second area of rotation that's right here. It's not extremely well defined, but there's enough there that it warrants a tornado warning. And really, anywhere along this line that's along I-55, we've got the potential for rotation. We've also got the potential here with any of these storms for some possibly extensive straight line wind damage as well. So all things to keep in mind here. Let me take a look at a couple things here on the National Weather Service chat. Looks like we do have some damage reports on Highway AA in Cape Girardeau County, so we'll watch out for that. But right here we've got this area of rotation that's here in southern Scott County. It's headed toward Cairo. We've got more tornado warnings off to the north, so I need to bounce up to those. Just hang with us here. We've got a lot going on, so we'll cover this as best we can. We've got tornado warning here for northern Union County in southern Illinois. Let me go back to radar so that it's just a little easier to pick out what we've got going on here. Tornado warning here north of Anna. That warning is still in effect. Our tornado warning in Williamson County also still in effect till 7:30, and then there's a new tornado warning, I believe, that has been issued here up toward West Frankfort and Johnson City until 7:45 tonight. So these are all areas of radar indicated rotation there. Up and down this line, Benton to West Frankfort, just past Heron, and right just past the Carterville area coming into Marion. So these are basically along I-57 right now. Anywhere along this line, expect the potential for wind damage over 60 miles per hour and some brief spin-up tornadoes. Again, that will be very difficult to detect on radar because they just don't last very long. Let's look for any signs of debris. This is a little, let me loop this here and see if anything, see if that's sustained or just kind of a blip in the radar. I think that's just kind of a radar blip, but that's at least worth watching here south of Benton. There's a little bit of rotation here. If I'm south of Benton and southeast of Benton, Illinois, here in Franklin County, I would go ahead and be taking shelter in those areas because I think there might be a little spin up here along Highway 34 just to the south of Benton. So let's keep an eye on that. Spin up possible just south of West Frankfort and here in northern Williamson County off to the east of Heron. So let's watch those areas as well. All right, let's get back down the line. We've also got tornado warning in effect from Marion south over just in the north of Goreville. With this line, that may produce some straight line winds and possibly a spin-up tornado. Again, we're watching this zone of rotation that's now just north of Charleston, Missouri, and yeah, you can see on radar, and there's actually a little bit of a hook right there. Do you see that? That's off maybe probably less than 10 miles north of Charleston, Missouri. Yeah, it's about 6 miles north of town. A little hook right there, and if we switch back over to our velocity, you can see those winds kind of swirling around here. So that is where we have maybe a little bit more of an enhanced threat for a tornado to drop down quickly. And this is moving into some pretty rural area right there along the Mississippi River. So, and this may very well cross the Mississippi a couple of times. Right now, it probably is going to go in between Cairo and Mound City. That would take it again over into Ballard County, most likely coming in close to Mound City, Barlow, and not far from La Center. So let's be watching that one. Again, could produce a quick spin-up tornado there in relatively with relatively little notice. Checking again our folks at the Weather Service offices in Paducah and Memphis to see if there's any damage reports. And again, I do want you to, if you have a chance, obviously number one, most important thing is to stay safe as these storms move through. But we do want you to give us any heads up if you've got damage reports. Hop on Facebook. It's Trent Okerson, WPSD Local 6. That's my professional page. Get on there and message me if you have anything that you need us to know about as far as damage, and we'll pass that along to the folks at the Weather Service. Let's zoom out just a little bit here, and I'm going to give you another track on this, and then we'll talk about our tornado warning that's south of here. So these storms all moving off at about 55 to 60 miles per hour, and I better zoom out just so we can get all the real estate on the radar. So from here, our potential tornado warning storm, if it continues on this path, Cairo, we've only got about 6 minutes before this thing starts to move into town. So let's go ahead and be taking shelter. Cairo and up toward Mound City. This will be moving over into the middle of Ballard County, La Center at around 7:47. If it continues on, this will probably be in the Paducah area within the next 30 to 40 minutes. So just after 8 o'clock, Ledbetter at around 7 or 8:14. Calvert City, way over here in the line of these storms at around 8:21 this evening. So again, this area of rotation here headed toward Cairo, Mound City, Barlow, and La Center in the next 15 to 20 minutes. And then on down the line, we've got this large tornado warning that includes Carlisle, Hickman, Fulton County, as well as southern Mississippi and New Madrid County. There's another little spot here that has a little rotation off to the southeast of Sykeston, and kind of a little bit of a messier look to the radar back to the east of New Madrid. And again, you can see there's a little bit of a bow right here, little kink there, and then a little kink here as well. Those little kind of almost like a backwards C is where we've got some enhanced straight line winds, and at kind of the top of that bow echo is where there's a potential for at least a little bit more potential for maybe a spin up of a tornado there. So let's put a track on that line of storms as well. So this line, we'll track that east at about 55 miles per hour. So Hickman, worst of the storm coming in here in about 10 to 12 minutes, 7:42 arrival time based on the computer data there. Clinton at around 7:52, Fulton at 8:02, Mayfield at 8:13, and Benton at around 8:28. Again, this is for this line of storms. The biggest concern with this line will still be the straight line winds, but within that line of storms, there may be the potential for a brief spin up of a tornado. On down the line into Tennessee, a little bit of good news here as the tornado warnings that were in effect as this thing came in from the west, those have been allowed to expire. Those are now severe thunderstorm warnings, and that's a pretty expansive severe thunderstorm warning. So that now includes folks from Union City to Martin, Dresden, all the way down through portions of Gibson County, around Rutherford and Trenton, Dyersburg as well. So this is a 70-mile-per-hour wind threat with this line of storms, potential for some considerable wind damage and a tornado possible. Anywhere along this line, there is some potential for a spin-up of a tornado there. So let me put a track on this entire line. Our radar data keeps, there's an issue going on with the data feed from the Paducah radar site to our graphics vendor, so it drops out briefly, then it comes right back there. Dyersburg, arrival time at 7:38, Union City at 7:52, Martin at 8:06, Dresden at 8:16, and McKenzie at 8:30. Again, anywhere in these areas of West Tennessee over the next hour, you've got the potential for some widespread winds of at least 50 to 60, possibly 70 miles per hour, as well as the potential for a brief spin up of a tornado. Murray, we're getting some storms right now, but again, those are not currently severe. Our main line is just now closing in here on the Mississippi River. Into southern Illinois, again, we have things improving a little bit. A couple of our tornado warnings have now been allowed to expire. Currently, we have one little sliver of a tornado warning that's still in effect until 7:45. That includes West Frankfort and Thompsonville over toward northern and northwestern Williamson County, off to the northwest, or northeast rather, of Marion. So let's go back over to our velocity data. That's actually picking up the Evansville site. Let's look at it from Paducah. Okay, and there is still, off to the east of Marion, a little kink in that line that's a little on the concerning side. Yeah, over here east of Pittsburgh, north of Crab Orchard, and again, there's Thompsonville with another little spot where the radar kind of kinks over there. But we'll watch this as it moves over toward Galatia into Saline County. We'll have to keep an eye here. I would not be surprised if we end up maybe with a tornado warning for northern sections of Saline County, north of Harrisburg over toward El Dorado, Galatia, and then up into parts of southern Hamilton County as well. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. As we kind of work our way farther south, that's a new tornado warning that's in effect here for Johnson County and parts of Union County. Again, this is going to be a radar indicated area of rotation that goes until 8 o'clock tonight, and that includes Goreville, Tunnel Hill, Vienna, Buncombe, down towards Cypress, Lick Creek, and Dongola. So here along Route 146, the worst of the storm right now is kind of halfway between Anna and Vienna, moving over toward Buncombe. And look real quick here at the reflectivity, and you can see some very heavy rain from right along I-57 right now. So the strongest part of that storm pressing in here to the east. Let's kind of zoom that out just a little bit. That tornado warning extends all the way back toward Dongola, and right there, that is actually a little bit more significant area of rotation. Yeah, that's okay. You see that little kink right here near Olin? Mike, do you have the printout for that warning by chance? That newest tornado warning that came out.
Yeah, let's see.
So that's actually in northern Pulaski County, off near the Olin, Illinois area. That's not too far away, of course, from Shawnee College.
New one that just came out, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Gotcha.
That's
Thank
it.
you. So this storm, moving off to the northeast at 60 miles per hour, moving toward Vienna at 740. Goreville, Lake of Egypt at around 745. This is for, again, radar indicated rotation, but pretty well defined little spot that just popped up there. Let's see, we've got, all right, new tornado warning just south of there. All right, so let me go to that. Let's see, do see another report coming out of several power outages and trees down across Jackson County, Illinois, as this line of storms came through, and also power lines that are tipped over around Cambria, Illinois. So we're getting a lot of reports of wind damage with this line of storms. Even if we don't get a spin-up tornado, we're getting reports of that that damage. All right, so here's our newest tornado warning. Let's watch this. This is going to be a little bit of an issue, I think, off to the northeast of Olin, and the reflectivity kind of lines up with that. It's actually a little bit ahead of the velocity data, and you can see where it kind of right in here. So you've got a little area of spin here and then here. So that is the concerning part of this. Let me move the camera around. We'll put a track on this. This is actually moving a little bit more northeasterly than some of our other storms have. So let's just do a cone and track this off to the northeast at 60 miles per hour. That's going to cover a lot of space. This is going to be in Vienna in less than 10 minutes, most likely. So between Vienna and Tunnel Hill, here along Highway 45, crossing I-24, the Vienna exit there, we'll have to watch out. Again, our radar data will come back here in just a second. So Vienna at 7:47, Tunnel Hill at 7:54. If this thing holds together, it goes up toward Harrisburg by 8:18. I don't know that it's going to make it that far north, but certainly here in the next 10 to 15 minutes across Johnson County, we need to be taking this one pretty seriously. That's a pretty nasty looking storm with what was a pretty well-defined radar signature back here near Olin, Illinois. All right, on to the south. We've got another tornado warning that's been issued for this area of rotation that's off now north of Cairo. Go back over here. Click this back on. So again, our radar data will be coming back. This tornado warning polygon, that includes southern Pulaski County, northern Ballard County. It actually includes a very small area of northwestern McCracken County, and then portions of Massac County along Highway 45 just north of Metropolis. So this does include Joppa and over toward the Karnak area. And again, let's go over here and look at our velocity data. And it looks like that velocity feed got slightly interrupted. Now it's coming back. So right here, that's the other spot that we're a little more concerned about. This is right along the Ohio River, the very small little village of America, and that's going to move over here into northern Ballard. So this could be tracking near Oscar and up 1105 toward Monkey's Eyebrow. And then from there, possibly, if it continues on as it moves east of Monkey's Eyebrow over on 358 and 473 off here pretty close to the Ballard and McCracken County line. So be watching that. Again, all of these tornado warnings tonight, these are not long track, intense, easy to track tornadoes. These are, this whole line of storms is producing very strong straight line damaging winds, and then along that line you get these little brief spin-ups. We're still looking at a little spot here that's moving into Johnson County in between Olin and Vienna. You've got another little spin-up here, again close to the Ohio River, moving up the river here, maybe close to Joppa and just to the north of Oscar and Monkey's Eyebrow. You got another little area of rotation that's south of Cairo. None of these are going to be long-lasting tornadoes that are on the ground for any long length of time. But what makes them dangerous, number one, it's nighttime, you can't see it. Number two, it's rain-wrapped. And number three, they don't last long. And so you don't know sometimes that they're coming on radar. And so if you're in one of these tornado warnings, we need to just go ahead and shelter in place. These are very fast-moving storms. All of this is moving off to the northeast at around 55 miles per hour. And so you won't have to stay sheltered for a long time, but we need you to go ahead and just ride these out. Let's track this, the warning here that's coming up from around the America storm that I just showed you. Monkey's Eyebrow at 7:47, Joppa at 7:57, Temple Hill at 8:11. And then maybe Golconda at 8:20 if it holds together. That area of rotation most likely will pass north of Metropolis, so it's going to be more in the northern part of Massac County, possibly up toward the New Columbia area. We've also got this other area of rotation. We've got really strong winds that are getting ready to come through Ballard County, and it's moving off to the northeast at around 55 miles per hour. So the worst of the storm coming into La Center at about 7:50. Paducah, we still expect that line of storms to roll through just after 8 o'clock, between 8 and 8:15. Metropolis at 8:05, Paducah at 8:13, Smithland at 8:27, and then Salem, Kentucky at around 8:36. And you can see there's a big severe thunderstorm warning that just came out, so let's get you up to speed on that. We appreciate you bearing with us here tonight. And again, I know there's a lot of us that are watching. I'll get to this here in just a second. This new severe thunderstorm warning runs until 8:30, and that is for the potential for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and a tornado possible tag on that. Right now, any of these areas along this entire line could produce spin-up tornadoes, but also we've had multiple reports of straight-line wind damage that at times has been fairly extensive with this line of storms. So Paducah, all of McCracken County, all of Graves County in that new severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado potential tag and the possibility of some more extensive areas of wind damage. All right, our new radar scan coming in here out of southern Mississippi County. This is a pretty intense area of rotation that's covered in this tornado warning. Remember that we have a tornado warning in effect for Carlisle, Hickman, and Fulton counties until 8:15, and this area of rotation that's just maybe 5 miles north of Hickman is getting ready to come across the Ohio River, or the Mississippi River. And so it's pretty close to the Durana Ferry area there along the river. And this is going to be coming right here into Hickman County and down pretty close to the Clinton area pretty soon, probably the next 10 to 15 minutes. So if we're here in Hickman County, let's go ahead and start taking shelter with this. This is a little bit more of an enhanced area of rotation that's showing up. And the reflectivity has kind of supported that. There's a little bit of I think the reflectivity is updating a little faster than the velocity is, but a more intense part of the storm right here off to the southwest of Columbus. So if you live here on Highway 58 near Clinton and off to the north of town, that's one of the areas that we're concerned about, that we want to be taking shelter here in these areas. Again, on south into northwest Tennessee, we've got a large area under a severe thunderstorm warning there. Let me go down for a quick check of our storms in Tennessee. And again, our severe thunderstorm warning is in effect here until 8:30 for 70-mile-per-hour winds. Tornado possible. This line of storms is getting close to Union City. Let's put a quick track here on that as this entire line of storms is moving off to the east-northeast at about 55 miles per hour. So that line of storms headed up toward Union City at around 7:51, Martin at 8:04, Dresden at 8:15, McKenzie at 8:32, and Paris at around 8:41. Quick check on the chat with the Weather Service. Yeah, they were also picking up on that circulation that's down toward Columbus, Kentucky. So right now, that strongest part of that storm, again, from Columbus, near the state park there, going to be moving pretty close to Arlington and Milburn, Kentucky as well. So let's go back up to that storm. Again, bear with us here. I know we're jumping all over the place, but we've got a number of tornado warnings that we're watching right now. So we'll do the best we can to keep everybody updated there. That's the strongest rotation that we have on radar at the moment. Let's check and see if there's any debris that's showing up. I don't see anything as of this moment, but that's definitely one to watch. Let me loop this. I want to see how this has evolved over the last few minutes. All right, so you can see it was here pretty close to Durana, and it's actually shooting off toward the northeast. So, all right, let's track that off to the northeast from where it is right now. So 55 miles per hour. If it continues up that way, so this could take a jog up here into Carlisle County, maybe toward Fancy Farm by 8:04, and right along Highway 45, pretty close to the McCracken-Graves line at around 8:15 or so. Again, I don't expect this to hold together for that long of a period of time, but it's not out of the question that it could. So here in Carlisle County, well, let's go ahead and be taking shelter here from this. Let's go down for a little bit of a closer view and get some of the street names plotted out for you, at least some of the highways here. And again, there's Columbus right there. It's moving up toward Arlington along 51 and Highway 80. Let's go down even a little bit closer and kind of stop this so that it's showing up here for us. All right, again, as of the last velocity scan near Columbus, it's probably up closer to Arlington right now, so crossing there, the Highway 80 and 51 intersection. It would probably go a little bit south of Bardwell, but not too far away from 1377 between Bardwell and Milburn. We'll have to watch out over toward Kirbyton, Cunningham, and then Highway 849 over toward Lowe's and Fancy Farm. Some of the spots that we need to be going ahead and taking shelter. Let's not take any chances with this, as again, this entire line of storms could produce damaging winds in addition to that threat for a spin-up tornado as it moves through here in Carlisle and Hickman County. Up the line, we still have our tornado warning in effect for Ballard County. At the moment, there's not anything that's just really strong or well-defined rotation. It does look like our tornado warning that was in effect for Johnson County, that was allowed to expire as the rotation weakened, but there is still a line of strong storms and strong winds here from Harrisburg toward Vienna. We'll watch this. At the moment, Johnson County does not have a warning, but it does look like there's some pretty intense winds along the leading edge of that line of storms. So again, our main concern right now is this storm that's right here along the Carlisle and Hickman County line. And you can see here that pop of blue, that is going to line up with, yeah, you can see some possibly near 70 mile per hour winds just with the straight radar feed of data from there, and also moving here not too far away from Wickliffe, possibly some 60 mile per hour winds with the storms there. Let's go back over to another velocity product and just a quick check to see if there's any debris that shows up here. Don't see anything at the moment, so that's good news there. Mike, you see anything on your end?
I do not see any debris. I do see that circulation that was mentioned over Columbus, though. That does looks like that's the biggest concern at the moment.
And I would say even if we don't have, even if there is not a tornado, there is going to be a pocket between Columbus and Arlington right now, I would imagine, of over 70-mile-per-hour winds, looking at some of the data behind the scenes. So those really strong winds coming into southern Carlisle County, northern Hickman County, would not be surprised if we have over 70-mile-per-hour winds there.
Yeah, that's got a really strong velocity signature.
All right. And again, if you're just joining us here on TV, we are streaming live on our Facebook fan page, as always. And so if you lose power, if you don't have access to a TV, we are on and streaming, and you can catch us there. We'll stay with you as long as we need to here. We've still got multiple tornado warnings in effect. Let's run down the list of those tornado warnings. Technically, still a tornado warning until 8:15 for parts of Massac County and a little small sliver of Pulaski and a very small portion of northwest McCracken. Ballard County, far western McCracken County under tornado warning until 8:15. Tornado warning here for Carlisle, Hickman, and Fulton County until 8:15 as well. Severe thunderstorm warning for Metropolis, Paducah, Simpsonia, Reedland on down toward Mayfield and Graves County until 8:30 for the possibility of damaging winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour. All right, let's go back down here. We're still looking at this area of some rotation that is near Columbus and Arlington. This is that radar scan is a little old at this point, so we're probably talking about this is more likely now from here it's moved into this area. So here in southern Carlisle County and northern Hickman County, that's going to be our area of greatest concern at the moment. We have had a little bit of an issue with the radar data getting from Paducah to our radar vendor and then back into our system. So what you're seeing here on radar is probably just a little bit old. Storm is moving very fast, and so it's out ahead of what you're seeing. Let's do a track on this entire line as it moves off to the northeast at 55 miles per hour. So the worst of the storm coming into Metropolis again around 8:05, Paducah at about 8:13, Simpsonia 8:22, Benton at around 8:35, Marion, Kentucky at around 8:48. If you look down the line, Paducah down toward Mayfield, you're going to be probably on that 8:15 range as well. So we got about 20 minutes before this comes into Graves County. All right, let's go back over and take a look at our velocity. Okay, we did get a new update, and it does look like maybe that rotation's a little less defined, but we still have this big area of some very strong winds here in Carlisle County. So while we're not seeing the rotation necessarily, the latest, oh, let's clear that off, my bad. Look at that, 70, 76, 74 mile per hour winds here in this pocket. And again, the storm is now out ahead of this. So south of Cunningham, here in eastern sections of Carlisle County, this is where we're going to have possibly over 70 mile per hour winds. And we did just get a new tornado warning that includes the Paducah area. So our phones are blowing up here. Bear with us. All right, let me
This
get
one's the full Paducah warning.
Okay, so this is a large tornado warning. Okay, so let me zoom this out. And let's pop it back over to regular radar just for a second and center this up for you. Again, we're going to stick with you until these warnings are allowed to expire. This is a huge tornado warning. So obviously we're not going to have, this entire area is not going to have a tornado. What the National Weather Service is doing here, this entire line of storms is intense. And there is the potential, as the warning reads out, severe thunderstorm capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage located from near Karnak to near Bardwell, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. And that is going to be moving into near the Barkley Regional Airport area about 8 o'clock, Paducah, Metropolis, Dixon Springs, West Paducah at around 8:05, Lone Oak, Brookport around 8:10, Reedland, Golconda, Ledbetter around 8:20, Berna at around 8:30, and Calvert City at around 8:35. So again, this entire line of storms is going to be producing some very intense winds, as well as the threat for some spin-up type tornadoes. As we've been talking about kind of all evening long, we're not really going to see on radar necessarily any well-defined areas of rotation. It will just be these possible spin-ups that may produce a tornado with little to no warning. At the moment, there's not really anything that's just jumping out to me. I am looking at some radar data behind the scenes here to see if there's anything that is concerning there. But at the moment, it looks like it's mainly just a long area of straight line winds. But within that area of straight line winds, we may have possibly some quick spin-ups. So right now here, the main area of our straight line winds just now from La Center up to about Joppa, and then moving over toward Paducah. It's going to be rolling through McCracken County here over the next about 10 to 15 minutes. Keeping an eye on Sky Tracker right now off to the west, and a lot of lightning coming in. But at the moment, it's going to be hard to see anything. That's another thing you have to keep in mind with these storms. They are, any possible tornado is going to be rain wrapped. You won't be able to see it, so there's no need to try to spot it. Go ahead and take shelter right now if you're in this tornado warning. All right. So again, let's go back over. I'm going to go back over to regular radar here because I think that might kind of show us a better idea of what's going on. And I'm going to zoom this out just a little bit and put a loop on there. So here is our radar loop. You can see the leading edge of that line of storms that runs here from west of Metropolis right along the Massac and Ballard, or the McCracken and Ballard County line, and then on down into Carlisle County. This line right here has the potential to produce 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, and it's not out of the question that a brief spin-up tornado could be possible at any point along that line. And again, bear with us, our radar data has had these very brief temporary dropouts. This entire line right here, closing in on the radar site for us in Paducah with the possibility of some strong damaging winds. At the moment, we are not tracking anything that just jumps off the page as far as rotation, but it's an environment tonight that is favorable for these little bitty spin-up tornadoes that could produce rotation and a tornado with little warning. Mike, if you don't mind, if you'll kind of keep an eye on Sky Tracker for me and kind of spin that maybe around to the northwest. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on things there. If you guys actually, Alex, if you're there, if there's any chance you could pop up the Sky Tracker from the tower cam at the old station. I'm not sure if we can do that and take a quick look at that. We'll stay on radar until we're able to possibly get that view on Sky Tracker here. We've got folks that are back behind the scenes working hard for us tonight as well. I do want to go back down here to the storm that's in Carlisle County, a pocket here of potentially damaging winds of over 70 miles per hour here. Those bright colors on Highway 51 south of Bardwell moving into eastern Carlisle County, certainly the potential for winds of over 70 miles per hour, and that really extends all the way down toward Clinton and Fulton as well. I'm going to take a look at one other thing here. There is a lot of lightning here from north of Metropolis right on down into western McCracken County. So when you see this, these are all lightning flashes within about 5 minutes or so. And so we're still getting some vivid lightning just here from Massac down through McCracken and Ballard. 41 lightning strikes in the last 5 minutes. So very healthy storm that's ongoing here. All right, there's that view from Sky Tracker. Let's just stay on this just for a second. I just want to see. Okay, so there you go. There's the lightning flashes, and you saw. We'll hang with this just for a second. There's a pretty decent shelf cloud that I just saw there as the lightning flash. Yeah, there you go. I didn't see any signs of lowering of the clouds, but just kind of the shelf cloud that went straight across the sky. And so that's an indication that we do have those strong straight line winds coming in. This is looking from the old television station out over exit 7 along I-24. All right, can we take a look at the downtown Paducah view real quick, and then we'll go back to radar. Yeah, that is certainly a nice, well-defined shelf cloud, but didn't see any lowering there. If we're able to switch over to the weather metrics cam, the downtown Paducah, yeah, there we go. Mike, are you able to spin that around?
Yeah, let me see if I can get logged in through here, because I'm not able to go to your other monitor here.
Ah, I got you. Okay. Well, we'll take this view just for a second. Again, you can see some lightning strikes there. Let's head back over to radar and get you caught up there again. As right now, you see those strong straight line winds right here. I'm not seeing anything in terms of rotation that just is well defined right now. This is really more, at least what we're seeing on radar, strong straight line winds that are coming in to Metropolis at the moment and coming out right toward the airport. So this is going to be barreling down Highway 60, coming into the middle of Paducah in about the next 5 to 10 minutes. So the wind will pick up dramatically here in McCracken County between now and about 8:15 to 8:20. Same here along 145 from Metropolis up toward Dixon Springs. That's where we have the leading edge of the very strong winds coming in here. So Dixon Springs over toward Golconda and Brookport, we'll have those really strong winds coming in the next 10 to 15 minutes there. And then on to the south, the leading edge of these storms here right along the Graves County line. There is right now a severe thunderstorm warning for Graves County. Tornado warning is off to the west there, but not at the moment, just strong straight line winds expected here in Graves County. right, let's go back over and turn back our velocity data here. Don't want to miss anything as these storms move in. So again, it's the green is where the winds are sweeping in from the northwest. You can actually see some little lines here where the wind is just howling in, and then winds coming out of the southwest out ahead of this line of storms. So in that zone where the colder, drier air is colliding with the warm, humid air out of the southwest, you get this area that is producing some very strong downdrafts along the leading edge of that line of storms. But at the moment, this is really more of a straight line wind threat with the potential for embedded small spin-up tornadoes. So let's go ahead and just be in shelter here across McCracken County, Massac County, southern Pope County, over into far Livingston County as well. Smithland included in this tornado warning. Again, right now, Smithland, we still have a solid 20 minutes before this line of storms rolls through, but as it does come in, we're going to have that potential for possibly some brief spin-up tornado threats there. All right, let's zoom out just a little bit here and make sure that we're staying aware of what's going on elsewhere across the region. Again, down toward Graves County, that line of storms here extends all the way down toward Martin. And again, severe thunderstorm warnings continue on here in Tennessee as well. Likely seeing some strong straight line winds coming into Martin in just a few minutes, and on down toward Trenton, Tennessee, and soon to be moving into the Dresden area as well. So again, we've got those southwest winds coming in here just ahead of our line of storms. Now we've got a new tornado warning that just popped on for southern Graves County with possibly a little embedded area of rotation there. So let me zoom down and give you that information. So we'll watch. There's a little area out here that might have the potential to spin something up, a little circulation possibly forming off to the northeast of Fulton. So tornado warning until 8:45 for southern Graves County. That's going to include Wingo and Sedalia and Farmington. It looks kind of the southern bypass there around Mayfield is in that polygon, but downtown Mayfield is not in that tornado warning. Let me check in here with the Weather Service again. Looks like we got a report of a tree down, possibly on fire near South Fulton, Tennessee, but not seeing any recent reports of damage in the area. If you do have any reports of damage, we want you to stay safe. Obviously, that's your main concern, but we want you to, if you don't mind, if you do have any damage after the storm's passed and it's safe to do so, pass those along to me on my Facebook fan page, Trent Okerson, WPSD Local 6, and I'll pass that along to the Weather Service. Again, there is our tornado warning in effect for southern Graves County. Right here, let me go down for a little bit of a closer view on that. Just to the east of Water Valley, we're getting some pretty strong spikes in the wind speeds there. You can see a couple of little pixels cranking out 70-mile-per-hour winds in that area. And this is going to be moving off to the northeast at around 60 miles per hour. So the worst of that is going to be near Wingo over toward 129, Cuba to Sedalia, and again over maybe close to the Farmington area. So here in southern Graves County, let's be taking shelter for the possibility of perhaps some straight line winds and the potential for a brief spin-up tornado. As we looped this here, you can see this is generally moving east-northeast. And so let's put a track on that part of this storm. as it moves off to the east-northeast at around 55 to 60 miles per hour. So if it holds together against Sedalia in the path at around 821, Lynn Grove at around 829, Murray at 836, and then Aurora at 850 and Katie's at 910, again, if it manages to hold together in those areas. So we'll keep an eye on that. As far as our tornado warning here for Massac, McCracken County, Pope County, Western Livingston County, this mainly appears right now to be more of a straight line wind threat, and we've had multiple reports along this line of storms of possibly some 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Mike, do you have something for me?
Yeah, I was looking at the sky tracker and I didn't see any lowering with any of the clouds, which is good. I turned it to the southwest, so even if you want to pull that up, I can bring that up here.
Yeah, we'll pull that up here real quick.
Okay.
Bear with me here for a moment. Got to do a quick microphone change. All right, are we good? Can you guys hear me okay? All right, good deal. All right, yeah, so our line of storms continues to move off to the east. We should see this clear the area between 9 and 9:30 tonight. So that'll be, again, by 9 to 9:30, this line of storms will be east of the lakes area and off toward Madisonville, Hopkinsville. By the way, if you're over toward Madisonville, Hopkinsville, Katie's right now, that line of storms, that's not severe. Obviously, all the warnings that are back to the west is still the main event, and that's still to come for you guys. All right, well, let's get a quick update here on all of our different warnings that we have across the area. So I'm going to go back to the north here. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning up around Carmi, line of storms now east of El Dorado and Harrisburg, and then on down into Pope County, line of storms closing in on Golconda. The worst of the weather coming through Brookport right now, coming through Paducah at the moment. It's a little bit more of a messy look to things from Paducah south toward Mayfield. There is some potential here for some straight line winds, but as far as anything really well defined rotation wise, kind of from Simpsonia and Hard Money on down toward Mayfield, radar return looks a little bit messier. Now, as you go down into southern Graves County, there's this kind of enhanced area of some damaging winds with some potential for some rotation here. The rotation does not appear to be overly impressive, but there is certainly some strong straight line wind potential. That's again here from near Wingo down toward the Sedalia area, over toward Cuba, Sedalia again close to Highway 94, and then up north of that here in southern and central Graves. Again, this is going to be a radar indicated area of rotation, nothing confirmed there, but certainly some potential for some strong straight line winds. Northwest Tennessee, worst of the storms now passing just to the east of Martin with a severe thunderstorm warning. The storms are about to move out of that warning area, so I would imagine for those of you in like Henry County, Carroll County, Eastern Weekly, we'll probably see a new severe thunderstorm warning coming down momentarily for you guys. Let's do a quick track on this line here in Tennessee, and then we'll move back up into Kentucky. So our line here, moving off to the east, and again about 55 miles per hour. Storm is rolling into Dresden right now. McKenzie at around 8:32, Paris at 8:41, and then over toward Dover at around 9 o'clock or so tonight. All right, on up the line. Let's see. Our tornado warning continues on here for a little bit longer for Pope County, western sections of Livingston. That's basically from Ledbetter to Smithland and up fairly close to Salem, and then back into McCracken County. That runs until 8:45. Again, this is a radar indicated area of rotation, along with the potential for some embedded rotation and straight line winds. And then we have a severe thunderstorm warning also that continues here. This is actually, I believe, a new warning, yes. That is until 8:30. Tornado possible, winds of up to 60 miles per hour. That runs from McCracken County on down into Graves County. All right. I hear the printer going. Do we have these new warnings that are coming in?
That was cancellation of the watch in areas.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Here's the storm. If there's any one spot that I'm concerned about, it's still here in southern Graves. There's that new severe thunderstorm warning I just told you would come out shortly. Right there. So you can see where there's a little bit of a, almost like a backwards S shape right there. That's where there might be some spin going on here, pretty close to Cuba and moving over toward Sedalia. So that is probably our most intense storm that we have ongoing at the moment. The velocity does not look as well defined as it did just a couple minutes ago, but there's still some indications of some stronger winds and some rotation in here as well. So that is going to be that's going to be the one to watch here over the next probably 15 minutes or so as it moves from Sedalia over here into western Callaway County. Again, farther to the north, the tornado warning continues on for Paducah and over toward Smithland and up toward Golconda. At this point, it's really just, it's a lot of straight line wind. You can see here that clash between the green and the red. Red is where the wind is blowing away from the radar site. Green is where the wind is coming in from the west-northwest toward the radar site. And those really strong wind gusts are really cranking up here in parts of Massac County. You got a little blip here. Well, I'm going to stop that here, but probably at least 50 mile per hour wind gusts here. Yeah, 58 to 60 miles per hour, and that's over probably pretty close to the Pope and Massac County line, pretty rural area that's out here. What are we looking like on Sky Tracker in Paducah?
Let me pull that back up. Maybe we could get that switched over with source 2. Let's see.
Right now, it looks like in Paducah things have not been terribly strong at the moment. Yeah, there's our view right now. That's looking out from downtown Paducah, just a block or so away from the TV station, looking out toward the southwest. Rainy and breezy, but honestly, the wind's not terribly strong.
Not terrible, no.
So a little bit of good news there. Hopefully, dodging a bit of a bullet. I know we have had some reports of at least some sporadic wind damage as this line's come across the area. All right, let's go back over to radar, and we'll stay with you here. We do continue to watch these storms. This line is going to continue to plow to the east. And so as we switch back over here to radar, let's zoom this out just a little bit. I'm going to kind of give you a wider perspective across the region and loop this here. So we do have some storms closing in on Hopkinsville and Madisonville. These are probably pretty strong, but they're not severe. Right there, that's our main line of storms. Behind that, there may be a few showers, but all of this non-severe. Once the main line comes through, that's it. We're done with the severe weather threat. So right now, basically I-24 and I-57 in southern Illinois, you're in the clear. Our river counties in Kentucky, Ballard, Carlisle, Hickman, that's it for you guys. Lake, Obion, Dyer County, that's it for you. All of southeast Missouri is in the clear right now. We've just got to wait for this main line to continue its trek across Kentucky and Tennessee. And I believe we did have an adjustment. Our tornado watch has been allowed to expire west of the line. Still in effect, of course, out ahead of the line. And let's look at this temperature contrast. Check this out. We're already down to 58 in Paducah, 38 in St. Louis, 73 out ahead of this thing in Nashville. So big time cold coming in behind this storm system. We did have an expansion of our tornado watch. If you happen to have any travel plans down toward Nashville, they're now under tornado watch in that area. All right, let's go back down, and we're going to hang with you until these warnings are out of the area. We appreciate you staying with us here on an active night across the Local 6 area. Our strongest storms right now running from around Simpsonia, moving through Mayfield and on into eastern sections of Graves County. Here's that new severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, for Tennessee, for Henry County, Carroll County, Western Weakley, and Eastern Weakley and Eastern Gibson County. That runs until 9:15 this evening, and again, some pockets of damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour, and a tornado possible tag with that as well. All right, let's move back up to western Kentucky, and I want to zoom in here to our Graves County storm and get an update on what the radar data is showing us here. Pretty messy, kind of a jagged line. That little spot right there, kind of see it's almost like a little notch in there. Let's see what the velocity shows on that. I don't believe the velocity data and the radar data is lined up exactly. You can see the velocities, the stronger winds are a little bit behind where the reflectivity was lined up. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of spin here. Let me go back over to the radar. Now let's zoom that in. So yeah, over here off to the east of Cuba, this is Highway 97 that runs right along the eastern edge of Graves County, and then 94 headed over toward Lynn Grove. This might be a spot where there's a quick spin up, so we'll keep an eye on this over toward Lynn Grove. This whole line is going to be moving over toward Murray in probably about the next 15 minutes or so. So Callaway County, you guys are under a severe thunderstorm warning. Would not shock me if we get a tornado warning dropped there, just for the potential for that brief spin up. So we'll keep an eye on that. Right now, severe thunderstorm warning for Callaway County. That runs until 9 o'clock tonight. There is that tornado possible tag on that, and 60 mile per hour winds, the possibility there. And let's head back up here. All right, so here's some good news. The tornado warning from McCracken, Massac, and Pope, that has been allowed to expire. That tornado warning has been dropped a little bit early as the threat has moved on and does not appear to be quite as severe for those areas. So from Smithland to Calvert City and Simpsonia, still under a severe thunderstorm warning with the possibility for some sporadic 60-plus mile per hour wind gusts there. Some strong winds moving up here into Golconda. So next in line, let's do some tracking here and give you some locations next in line for our line of storms here, even if they're not under warnings right now, from around Rosiclare down here into Livingston County. This is going to be moving up into Marion, Crittenden County. We'll probably be seeing the storms come in from the western side of the county around 8:30, and then Marion probably about 8:45. Princeton, arrival time closer to 9 o'clock there, so you can see right here along I-24 and I-69, probably getting close to Eddyville, close to about 8:45, and then on over toward Madisonville at around 9:22. And then farther to the south, here, let's go back over here to our line track. Again, moving east at about 55 miles per hour. So Benton, storm's coming in here pretty soon, in about the next 5 to 6 minutes. Murray, you've got a little shower that's coming in right now, but the main line of storms coming in at 8:40. Canton, kind of crossing over into the LBL between 8:45 and 9 o'clock. Katie's at around 9:08, and then Lafayette at around 9:23 as it moves into Christian County. And at that point, between about 9 and 9:30, these things are going to be sweeping on pretty much out of the local 6 area. This little tiny sliver of tornado warning still in effect for southeastern Graves County, but just haven't really seen anything that's super concerning as far as rotation is concerned, which is good news. I think for the most part, compared to what we could have seen, there hasn't been really any well-defined rotation circulations tonight. There's been a couple that looked pretty gnarly for a radar scan or two, but they just didn't last very long. Let's go back to regular radar here. Might have a little bit of small hail east of Dresden, so we'll keep an eye on that. On down east of Greenfield, this is moving in toward McKenzie, Tennessee, up toward Puryear and Paris. We'll expect those storms to roll in soon. You get a brand new radar scan there. And again, just really kind of straight line winds, the big concern with this. So let's put a track here on these in Tennessee. Let's stay here on the Paducah radar site. And for our Tennessee friends, this is going to be moving through here over the next 30 minutes or so. Paris, Tennessee at around 8:45. McKenzie at around 8:34. I know I didn't get all the way down to Huntingdon, but Huntingdon, these storms will be moving through for you around that 8:45 time frame as well. And then Dover at about 9:10. So that'll take care of us within the next hour. We'll get rid of this in Tennessee. We're staying with you until our tornado warning here is allowed to expire in Graves County. That goes till 8:45. The storm is moving into Callaway County right now, and at this point it looks like it's more of a straight line wind threat there. And it actually looks like the severe thunderstorm warning as well, that was allowed to expire. So right now from Rosiclare down into Livingston County, Calvert City, and Benton, at this very moment, we don't have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect there. And our radar data just dropped out there, so we'll keep an eye on that. That'll come back here in just a second. So right now we're keeping an eye on the Murray area. The tornado warning there for Graves, that was allowed to expire. And so at this very moment, we do not have any tornado warnings in effect for the local 6 area. There might be a little bit of hail here coming in pretty close to the Puryear area, but our straight line wind threat will continue here from Murray down to Paris and Huntington over the next few minutes. But thankfully, at the moment, our line of storms appears to be just a little bit less intense than it was earlier. Just wondering maybe if, as this line got just a little bit stronger from near the lakes area eastward, if it might have just zapped enough energy from the atmosphere to help us out just a little bit. I do not think we need to let our guard down yet. Marion, Eddyville, Princeton, down through Cadiz and Murray, we have the strongest part of this line of storms coming on through in the next few minutes. But again, at the moment, we do not have any tornado warnings in effect for our immediate area. Quick check of things in the chat with the Weather Service. We got apparently about 900 people without power in Hickman, Kentucky. We've got about 50 mile per hour winds reported in the last 20 minutes around Water Valley, 57 mile per hour gust around Palmersville, Tennessee. And so that's about the rundown as far as our damage. So looks like maybe we got lucky here and dodged some of the worst of the damage, which again, we're not out of the woods just yet. So here's what we're going to do. Because we don't have any tornado warnings in effect, we're not going anywhere, but we do have, of course, we have NBA on NBC right now. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a quick recap, or I'm going to do another track here on TV of these storms. We're not going anywhere. In just a few minutes, we'll go back on TV to basketball, but I'm going to stay here on Facebook Live. We will continue our Facebook Live coverage of these storms, and we'll watch it. We'll have periodic updates on TV as well. And of course, if there are any tornado warnings, we will be right back here on TV. But here's the latest on what we're seeing at the moment. Before I do that, real quick, Mike, the folks from the newspaper said that they need to get the newspaper from you.
Yes.
The newspaper weather graphic. So, all right. So, big shout out, Mike Javer here helping me out on this Sunday evening. And we've got, again, right now, let's kind of go down the line and I'll give you some more local updates here. Right now, some strong storms here in Livingston County. There are some pockets of strong winds here, but we're not seeing anything that's been producing damage necessarily out of these storms, at least in the last 15 minutes or so. Let's track this for you here. What's near Rosiclare and off toward Calvert City right now as it moves off to the northeast at 55. Here's some arrival times. Marion, Kentucky, 8:45 is when those storms are going to come through. At the moment, no severe thunderstorm warning for you guys. It'll be close. 40 to 50 mile per hour winds are possible. Some brief heavy rain. Right on down 641 toward Eddyville. The same time frame, about 8:47. Over toward Princeton, it's going to be about 9 o'clock with the storms rolling in there. Madisonville at about 9:21. So Fredonia, Marion, Eddyville about 8:45, Princeton past Dawson Springs at around 9 o'clock or so. As we move on down the line from Calvert City to Benton and Murray, we've got these little wavy areas where the winds are still very strong. It's not out of the question that we could get a quick spin up there as we check out the velocity data here. We've got nothing real well defined, but we'll watch this coming into Murray. And then we've got some strong winds here from Calvert City back toward the Paducah area. In fact, there is 45, 50 mile per hour wind gusts even behind the main line of storms. So certainly some strong winds. And that's the thing, we're still under a high wind warning until 10 o'clock tonight, by the way, for most of the area. Even after the storms move through, some very strong winds, non-thunderstorm related winds coming in behind these storms. But as far as any rotation, we're not picking anything up here around Murray at the moment. So we'll put a track here on the line of storms from Benton to Murray. Moving off to the east about 55. So those coming in to Murray right now, basically. New Concord at 8:49, Katie's at around 9:08, and Lafayette around 9:21. I don't suppose we can get a look at the Murray Sky Tracker, can we?
Yeah.
Let's pop back over to Sky Tracker real quick. Honestly, look at the Paducah radar, the Paducah Sky Tracker right now.
It's doing its happy dance.
It is flipping around. If y'all can, let's pop up that Sky Tracker camera and we'll check things out. It's coming down in Murray right now.
Hold on 1 second, let me pull it up. Okay.
Yeah, there's your view from Murray right now with the storm coming in. Lots of lightning, some heavy rain. There's some gusty winds, but it doesn't look like anything that's just terribly strong right now. You can see a couple trees down around the CFSB Center that are not really blowing around too much. So a lot of lightning and heavy rain there. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's go back to radar. Some pea-size hail around Murray as well, according to Callaway County Emergency Management. And then on down the line into Tennessee. Again, that strong line of storms. Probably some pea-size hail here in Henry County as well, and possibly some 40, 50, 60 mile per hour gusts along that line. There is still a severe thunderstorm warning in effect here for Henry County. So let's go back out for the wide view across the area. And again, I want to go back over to our regular velocity data. And even behind our line of storms, there's some very strong gusty winds coming in out of the northwest. At last check, we'll see what we were clocking in Paducah. We've had some recent gusts in Paducah well over 20 to 30 miles per hour, probably even higher than that, maybe some 40+ mile per hour gusts. So even as that line of storms moves on through the area, there's still going to be some really windy conditions coming in through the rest of the night. But again, here on TV, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning here that does include the Stewart County area until 9:45, 70 mile per hour winds. For Callaway County, our severe thunderstorm warning continues until 9 o'clock for the possibility of some 60 mile per hour winds there. From Marshall up toward Livingston and Crittenden County, strong storms, not severe at the moment. So with no tornado warnings, again, we are going to stay with you on Facebook Live. So we will continue to stay on Facebook Live for folks here. I do not want anybody here across Western Kentucky to think that we're forgetting about you. We're not. We're going to be right here watching these. We don't have tornado warnings, so typically we don't go wall to wall on TV for severe thunderstorm for tornado warnings. We don't go wall to wall unless we have tornado warnings, and we don't want to continue on here. So we want to get you back to basketball. We're watching this. Marion, Princeton, Eddyville, Catawba. If anything pops up that's concerning, we'll come right back on TV. We will continue on Facebook Live as we move through the rest of this evening as these storms cross the area. So again, On WPSD-TV, we'll get you back out to regular programming, and we'll be with you here. Our Facebook live stream will continue. We're not going anywhere on that, and if we have any additional updates, we'll be right back on our main TV channel.